Hi guys! This is the first time in a long time that I feel super excited to make something, and I decided to make a mask today. I made a mask a few years back, and I used this mannequin. It's just one of those regular mannequins from Hobby Lobby, mannequin heads, the foam ones, and I already made it bigger. I added some bubble wrap and newspaper to build up the facial features because I want it to be very, I guess, masculine. And I am gonna try to create another mask today. I am going to actually use more Sculpting clay. I'm super excited and we'll see how this goes. The first thing I'm thinking about doing is wrapping it in saran wrap so that the Sculpting clay does not get stuck to my mannequin. Now start wrapping the whole mannequin head in foil. At least try to cover the parts where you're going to put clay. I used some tape to help keep the foil in place. You could use as much tape as you need. Now it's time to make some horns to add to the forehead. Try to shape them however you want them, and for the second horn, just match it up to the first. Get it as close as possible. Trying to figure out the placement of the horns. Now that I know where the horns go, I am going to tape them down to secure them and make sure they do not move while I add clay. Make sure everything is in the right place. Now you can start adding some clay. I thought the easiest place to start would be the eye. So I'm just going to add clay around the eye socket. Use some Sculpting liquid clay and your sculpting tools to help you smooth everything out and get everything to stick right. And now it's time to build up the eyebrow bone because I want it to be raised up higher than other parts of the face.
It is time to blend everything in and smooth it out a bit. I got all my supplies from Joann's fabric store, and don't forget that you could use coupons there. It really helps out a lot. And I got the styrofoam mannequin head from Hobby Lobby, which you could also use a coupon. You could get the coupon from their online website, and I know for Joann's you could download an app, which most times they have better coupons on it. Or you could sign up to receive emails from them, and they'll also send you coupons. Starting on the horns! Woohoo! You also have to make sure that you cover all the foil with a even layer of clay, at least as a base, and then you could build up and put more clay to make the higher parts of the mask. I decided to make the mask only the front part of my face and cover my mouth, so I will not be adding clay to the back side of the head. Keep on adding clay until you get your desired look. It always takes a while to smooth everything out, but it is so worth it in the end. Building up the bone structure right now and going to start working on the high cheekbones. I actually jump all over the place when working on this clay mask, but do whatever is comfortable for you. You could start anywhere, you could jump around. It really doesn't matter. If you mess up, you just take the clay off and start over again. use the liquid clay to help you stick the clay to the foil a lot better so it doesn't come apart. I feel like you could use this method to make any other type of mask out of clay because you're just using foil to build up the facial structure or however you want the mask to look. For example, I just added horns to it, and when I'm done with the mask, it's gonna be a skull face with horns when it could have just been a plain skull face. And if you want, you could even make it into a different kind of face. It doesn't have to be a skull face. I did realize that I used my hands and fingers a lot more while making this sculpture than I did my other previous sculptures. I didn't really use the tools as much. I smoothed everything out with my finger, and I even molded the clay using my fingers. But the tools do help, but you don't necessarily need them. I mainly use the tools to add detail to the skull mask. Finishing up the horn. Now it is time to smooth everything out. Okay, I pretty much have the first half of the face done, and I just need a little bit more to go. Keep on adding that clay and keep on going. I decided not to add any teeth for this skull mask, but if you want, you could try adding teeth. I just made it look like they were all missing. Start rolling out some more clay and start working on the other side of the face. I'm going to speed this up a little bit more so you don't have to watch it all over again. Just do the same exact thing you did on the other side of the skull mask. Try your best to match both sides of the mask.
Play? What the heck? I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
I just realized one side of the cheekbone is way off, so I decided to add more clay to try to even it out more. It is time to add the details. I used a dental oral kit from Walmart to help add all the little fine details. Adding some lines around the horns to give it detail and make it a little more interesting than just plain solid horns. And here comes the fun part. I am using soft pastels to brush on a light coating of color. But you could also use paint if you want. I just find it a little bit easier with soft pastels. I feel like adding a little bit of color will bring the mask to life. And it will just make it pop and make it look a little more old and worn and creepy. And I started adding black pastel anywhere the shadow will appear.
Okay, well, I finally finished it, and the only problem is baking it. Obviously, I cannot put it in the oven because of styrofoam, so I have to figure out another way to at least heat it up enough to hold its shape so that I could take it off and put it in the oven without it losing the shape of the face. My idea is using this really old blow dryer that I have because it gets really hot, and I'll show you just in a second. Not sure if it's gonna work or if it would work with all blow dryers, but this one is really old. And it would also be a good idea to get a different type of clay. The only clay I had was the Sculpting oven baked clay, but they also have clay that dries, air drying clay, which would probably have been a lot better than this Sculpting clay.
Time to use the blow dryer to try to heat up the clay enough. It took forever, but it worked. I went ahead and took off the mask from the mannequin head. Now I just finished baking it, and I am done with the front part of the mask and completely done with the first bake. But now it is time to work on the back of the mask. Now you must cover the whole back of the mask with clay. And I also left the foil as a layer in between. Don't forget to use that liquid clay to help you along the way. When you are finished covering the whole back of the mask with clay, then it is time for a second bake. Don't forget to cover all the edges of the mask as well. Make sure it is one solid piece. If the mask cracks a little bit in areas that are important, just cover it up with more clay and bake it very low. And the mask is complete! Thank you for watching my video, and please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my creations.